On now to the National Retail Federation, still predicting record high holiday spending this year. Christina went over some of that. The NRF president and CEO Matthew Shay joins us now. Hi, Matthew.
Hey, Blake. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Happy Friday. So you guys are actually predicting a sales increase this year, as Christina talked about, 3%, 4%, 5%, depending on however it shakes up. I'm wondering why you think that's the case, considering the state of the economy right now, where we've seen basically unemployment at twice as where we are now compared to this time last year. Why are you so optimistic?
Yeah, well, Blake, there are a number of factors that we look at. We've been doing this forecast for more than 20 years. We look at probably 24 basic macroeconomic indicators, whether that's the unemployment rate or housing starts or gasoline prices, unemployment. So we've got a lot of history of this study being, this forecast being very, very accurate and reflective of the economy. So we've got that foundation. We also have the last 6 months of consecutive month-over-month and year-over-year retail sales growth. Consumers have been out powering the economy from June, when we really went back into more of an open economy, when we got back to business in a lot of ways. So we've seen this, and the October numbers that came out year-over-year, ex-gas, ex-auto, up 10.5% over October of 2019. So consumers are out there. The unemployment rate is still far too high. There are millions of American families, workers, businesses, communities that are suffering. That's why we really believe that we need additional fiscal support and stimulus. We hope that policymakers will get that done. But as Christina said, consumers overall are out getting engaged in the experience, and we know that they are repurposing a lot of dollars from other sectors of the economy.
I want to ask you about that, because how much do you buy into this idea that there hasn't been vacation spending, people aren't driving as much, so gas, et cetera. So maybe instead of that hotel that you would have been in Florida, instead it goes to that whatever that you buy in store or online.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And we've seen it throughout this year as consumers had to make different choices about how to spend their money. So the home became the place that from which you worked, you entertained, you went to school, you exercised, all of those things, and that's driven consumption. The estimates that we've seen are between $350 to $500 billion at this time of year would be spent on services and experience, whether that's travel, entertainment, dining, lodging, flights. And all of those categories, unfortunately, are really not being, really not recovering yet.
Yeah, let me ask you, and if we could put that graphic back up of the big box retailers, because we know who's been a winner over the last 6 to 8 months or so. You look at Target, for example, Amazon as another one. How much of this spending is going to the massive companies because of the infrastructure that they have set up and the online presence that they've had going into it and built out during it, versus the mom and pop shop when you take a right at the stop sign?
Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, we were pretty vocal in our expression of frustration that earlier this year there were some real arbitrary decisions made about which businesses could remain open and which were forced to close. And it wasn't based on health and safety guidelines. It was simply based on the products that these businesses sold. And there's nothing inherently unsafe about a sweater or a pair of shoes that makes it less safe than a loaf of bread or a pound of ground beef. So we thought all businesses should have remained open. That worked a real hardship. Having said that, there's been a real rebound and a recovery for many of those businesses forced to close. Retailers showed tremendous agility. Consumers have been resilient, but there are still far too many businesses that need support, and that's why we are very vocal in supporting additional fiscal stimulus.
And I'm glad you said that, because I got a couple minutes left with you, and I want to ask you about that. As someone who spends Monday to Friday at the White House, I can tell you, as you've been following the headlines, it doesn't look good for another relief package in the short term at the end of the Trump administration, and you got to question how it happens at the beginning of the Biden administration if there's a Republican Senate as well. What happens if there is not another relief package?
Well, Blake, I think we're aware there are a number of programs that are going to expire, unemployment insurance benefit extensions, moratoriums on evictions and foreclosures on mortgages, things like that. So there's a lot of support that ought to be forthcoming from the Congress. You talked
I know it should be coming, but what happens if it doesn't? I guess is the bottom line.
Well, you talked in your last segment about the politics of the moment, given what's happening in the Senate races in Georgia, things like that. And I spoke to Secretary Mnuchin a few days ago. We've spoken to congressional leaders, to the Biden transition team.
What did they tell
Everybody
you?
recognizes we need to do something. We need the politics to get out of the way. We need these people to come together and take care of these families, these communities.
Real quickly, I'm getting wrapped, but what did the Biden transition team tell you?
Well, I think there's a recognition that everybody sees what's happening in these economies across the country in these communities. We know that we need more relief. So, again, everyone's playing the political environment in the hopes of a bigger, better deal. And at some point, I think we have to recognize better to have something before the end of this year. And if there's a desire and a need to go back and do more next year, if that makes sense, then we can have that conversation next year.
Matthew Shay, we'll bring you back. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good insight.
Thanks, Blake.
Good to hear from you. Thanks, Matthew.